Hello, testing. Okay, I'm gonna do this video. I'm not gonna go on for hours upon hours. I'm gonna say this plain, simple, quick and easy to people of America and whatever countries watch this site, this video. We're going into winter time again. Seasons are changing, and as you all know, here in America we are at war. 2 of our buildings were attacked. Thousands of people are deceased because of it. I'm not going to get into that whole thing though. What I'm going to tell you is that, oh, and I've been doing good for everyone out there who's curious. Got my own place now, no longer live with family, clean, living well. So, here's what I'm going to tell you. Wintertime is here. Don't let people break your spirit. Don't let people break your unity as a people, as a society. Try not to support bad habits of people as much as you can, like, you know, buying drugs or doing those things, you know, or downgrading people psychologically, trying to beat them up, maim them, push them around, things like that. As I told you, I'm not going to go on for hours upon hours. I just want to tell you that I have a quick reading. This is from The Future of Terrorism. Future conflicts. The world order has changed significantly. The number of new sovereign nations that emerged from the end of the Cold War rivals the new nations created after the 2 world wars and the retreat of the colonial empires in the 50s and 60s. However, not all of these nations are visible states, and most of them do not have stable leadership other than that of local ethnic or tribal strongmen. Many have significant problems aside from poor leadership, especially in the developing world. The most significant of these problems include disease, resource depletion, and factionalism. Resource depletion. These countries that lack a base of sufficient industrial or technological production to sustain an economic system fall back on basic agricultural and resource extraction. However, population pressure and lack of foresight encourage rapid depletion of finite resources. The result is further degradation of the economy. Now, you can use these in acts against another country. You put all these beliefs in people's heads, make them fight each other, use the weather against them. People who do drugs, if you're wondering why your life is so stressful, that's because you're pumping yourself full of drugs, meth, cocaine, heroin. Marijuana is so-so, it's good and bad. But now, when you use these drugs, it weakens your immune system, which makes you therefore more prone to stress. You got a weakened immune system, you are stressed out from the weather. Just the stresses of daily life alone are enough to cause some people to have, you know, doubts about the future and doubts about hope, or, they might try to do, go out and do things that are sometimes good, but most of the time bad, to get over these types of things. And that's what terrorism is based on. That's what breaking a nation's unity, breaking a nation's spirit. I mean, holidays, shopping in support of a nation, any of these things that keep a nation together, keep the rules in line, like things like anarchy anarchism, you know, and you know, the gang thing, and you know, all these prison gang things, all these things, they're distractions. They're ways to cause ununity. I mean, think about some of the rules of some of these places. You can't be a snitch, you can't communicate with law enforcement, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know, that's how you break a society. That's how you break the political strength of a society. You gain access to politics. You degrade the economy and, you know, the resources, and you make people unafraid to be united. People don't have unity because they want to be this gang or that gang, or they want to have this girl, or they want to be this image in life, or this or that, or because some guy's offering them a good job to do this or that. You see, that is what the problem is altogether. We have to be willing to find progressive ways to better ourselves, progressive ways to let stress out. You can't beat up your girlfriend, you can't do nasty things to women, you know, prostitution, and for the girls out there who do it legal, even 50% of them are probably crooked, but I'm not getting into that. I told you I'm not going to do a 2-hour speech here. This is a rare occasion that I'm even showing myself on this channel. I have some more videos later on. But like I was telling you, all that's based on to break unity, to break the people, to break a nation's strengths, to break a nation's economy, to break a nation's agriculture, bed bugs, the stressors. Not communicating with the police, people can build higher and higher and higher. I mean, that's the best I could explain it to you. Not only that, but the weather, like I was telling you, we have to learn how to deal with the weather. Everyday life is stressful. We have to deal with it. Going to the store, you don't want to take out the garbage every day. You don't want to clean every day. You don't want to groom yourself. You don't want to go to work. You don't want to do this. You don't want to respect other people. But it's things that you should and that you need to do, because if you don't, you're causing stress on another person. And if I stress out one guy, and he stresses out 2 guys, and he stresses out 3 guys, and he stresses out 6 guys, and he stresses out, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys, what happens is it just keeps moving on and on. And eventually you have this whole group of people who don't care about law, they don't care about rules, they just want everything now, and it's like, you just, anyways, I've said what I gotta say about that. Now back to the weather. Weather's stressful. Cold weather weakens the immune system. So does stress. So does not having a healthy diet. So does drinking alcohol and doing drugs. All these things weaken the immune system. You have to keep your immune system strong. Not only the cold weather, even in the summertime, it's a stressor. It dehydrates you. It makes you hot. It's the same thing as the winter, but in the winter time, it's more of a calming thing. It's like a continuous euphoria with all this white light around you, and there's all these stresses on you, and you're saying, why even care? Let's just get high, and just give up on the world and just not do anything for anyone. Just F the world, you know what I mean? I mean, just kill people and murder and just cause complete chaos until I get what I want. I mean, it's a waste of time, we just have to learn how to deal with these things. For any of these attacks that might come from terrorism, it's all based on the immune system and stress. causing a person to make the wrong decisions for another person's benefits. Ever since the war has been going on, the military ain't the only ones involved in the war. We're involved in it just as well. Bed bugs, sound and vibrations, corruptness, trying to spread disease in a nation, trying to deplete certain types of, foods or other types of things. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because I want everyone out there to have a happy holidays. I want everybody to try to do the best they can to survive, and every time you make that bad choice to do drugs and do those dumb things, you're supporting the people who are putting the stresses on you in the first place. It's not a racial boundaries, believe me. It's in every race, everywhere. There's good, bad, and in between in every single race, I guarantee you that. Every single culture, I guarantee you. Deal with the weather, keep your immune system strong. I won't be doing videos on this channel for some time. And I'm going to finish this reading part right here about the future of terrorism. Disease. Pandemics such as HIV and AIDS and Ebola are just now beginning to equal the lethality of older scourges such as plague, malaria, and other tropical fevers. Resource depletion, factionalism, power system lacking any sense of national and geographic identity. Lacking a cohesive identity, other pressures eventually cause weak states to splinter or gradually pull apart. Inevitability of conflict. We got one more thing here, and then I'm going to go off. I don't want to make it over like 15, 20 minutes if you're watching. Just an update. Increasing capabilities. Terrorists are improving their sophistication and abilities in virtually all aspects of their operations and support. Now you see, every time we go to war, look how many times we've been at war with one nation. And yes, there will be losses on both sides, that's a guaranteed fact. And yes, there will be families who get so stressed out over the losses of their sons and their daughters in other countries that they turn the same way. I didn't say nothing else about that. But trends of terrorism and drug sales are increasing. They're learning, they're starting to possess new types of capabilities, new types of attacks. And like you might see this guy on this video, right? He's got this machine gun and he's shooting stuff down, and he's got this saw and he's striking them with these Apaches. You see, that is war. There's winners and losers, and well, that's war. But there's a different type of war, and that's one that's happening right now here in America. And that war is a different kind of war. It's a psychological war. It's the war of the mind. It's the war of the people. It's the war of the cultures. Using people's everyday problems. I mean, racism, gangs, drugs, anything to cause people to fight, anything to cause people to disrespect other people, anything to downgrade one more person, make that person do something like suicide or murder and lock them in prison. That's one more guy out of the way. Best case scenario, become some guy in prison and he's some hardcore gang leader, and even then they're going to find another way to use it against you. And I'm not going to get into this conspiracy theory like there's some guy playing with us like a puppet, because that's not happening. Well, it kinda is, but you wouldn't understand. So, the aggressive use of modern technology for information management, communication, and intelligence has increased the efficiency of these activities. Weapons technology has become more available, and the purchasing power of terrorist organizations is on the rise. The ready availability of both technological and trained personnel to operate it for any client with sufficient cash allows the well-funded terrorists to equal or exceed the sophistication of governmental countermeasures. Likewise, due to the increase in information outlets and the competition with increasing numbers of other messages, terrorism now requires a greatly increased amount of violence or novelty to attract the attention it requires. The tendency of major media to compete for ratings and the subsequent revenue realized from increases in their audience size and share produces pressures on terrorists to increase the impact and violence of their actions to take advantage of the sensationalism. As indicator of this trend is the fact that terrorist incidents have been going down in total numbers since 1991, but the lethality per incident has gone up. Chart 6.1 shows that the number of incidents began to rise in the early 1980s and peaked in 1987. Since then, the number of incidents has been declining. In fact, the years 2002 and 2003 had the fewest number of attacks during the 22-year period reflected on the chart. This is probably the result of both the war on terrorism and the conscious decision on the part of terrorist groups. Now, like I was saying earlier, about the machine guns and a war is a war, it decreases because the activity doesn't happen as much. The bombings, the viewable terrorist characteristics. It's like a mouse. If you take a mouse and you put it inside of a maze, right? When it first starts out, it can't get to the cheese. It just can't do it. But eventually it starts to learn, and it starts to work its way around these mazes. It starts to work its way around these mazes, and eventually it's going to get from point A to point B, and it's going to get the cheese. It's getting smarter every minute. It's learning these mazes. Like, we could all burst into war right now, Team 1 and Team 2, and fight until there was no one else left. But in reality, everybody would be a loser, because even the winners would still be losers in a small way. So, it's a smarter kind of war. It's a more sophisticated warfare. It's a like I told you before. I'm going to move on and do one more. Fewer incidents or greater casualties appear to be the goal for many groups. This is not just a function of efficiency in developing skills, but also a tendency by the increasing number of religiously motivated groups to view even larger casualty lists as a measure of their influence and power. An ideal example of this attitude was the use of airliners as manned cruise missiles to strike the Pentagon and World Trade Center in September 2001. Shows the average number of casualties per incident covering the period 1997 through 2003. As can be seen, the average number of casualties in 1997 was 3.0 per incident. Let's move on. The trend to exploit available technologies and desire for more casualties will probably accelerate the eventual employment of weapons of mass destruction, WMD, by terrorists. Documented uses of chemicals, Tokyo in 1995, and biological weapons, Oregon in 1984, and Florida and Washington, D.C. in 2001 have already occurred, and as mentioned earlier in this handbook, Al-Qaeda has started that it is their intent to acquire WMDs. During the evolution of modern terrorism in the Cold War era, even nationalist insurgent groups sought out, indeed required, a sponsor from one of the two competing ideological blocs. In other words, weapons of mass destruction, like it said. A bullet, you can fight for only so long, you can cause only so much terror and so much, you see, domination, control in a higher manner. More money, more life, more power. Bring it up as much as you can. It's not, I mean, some people might not even be that. It just might be God. I mean, a belief that God has sent this person to be a martyr and cause as much destruction and chaos as possible. It could be revenge. It could be different belief systems. It could be a whole number of different things, people. But don't let weather stresses or changes in seasons get to you. Summer, winter. Don't let everyday stresses. Don't let the foods you eat. You know, there's a whole number of different things that could change you. Don't let vibrations and sounds, which also weaken the immune system. Light in the eyes. Pretty much nuclear warfare in a way. When a nuclear bomb goes off, you know, it hurts your eyes, it burns the skin, it increases the temperature, and then you got, radioactive fallout moving around you. People assimilated these things. Just by knowing the knowledges of all-out chemical, biological, nuclear weapons trainings, you could definitely use it as an attack. But it's not really like attack, like walking up and punching a person. It's like remember in junior high or high school, I'm sure all you guys out there seen that one guy that was that like instigator that just tried to make the guy fight the other guy and tried to cause as much destructions and chaos, or and you might say, well, how would you spread HIV and AIDS and diseases? Well, sex, unsafe sex, even impregnating women, even people getting women pregnant at young ages and they can't take care of them. And I'm 22 minutes in, but I'm gonna keep going. People who, getting young girls pregnant, and there is young girls who can take care of their children, but young girls that can't take care of their kids. They can't show them proper education and proper knowledges. That's a tough one, because that's the whole thing about it, is because just by me saying that can be used in a weapons of mass destruction manner for people's offenses. Once again, it goes to racism and judging people and pointing the fingers at people. I don't know how to put it to you. You're gonna have to figure out what I'm saying to you in your own terms. There's no way to put it to you. I just don't know how to explain it to you. When you think of weapons of mass destruction, you think about bombs blowing up and people getting evaporated, and these mighty chemical and bio weapons that kill thousands of people all at once and end worlds. I mean, you can do the same thing with stress. You can do the same thing with psychology. You can change the hearts and minds of the people. People have dreams, people have hates. You can use it against them. Weather is one of them. Sound and vibrations. Not getting what you want. Getting what you want. Greed. Lust. There's all kinds of different ones that I could tell you about. People, I'm going to let you go now. Please, please do not attack people during the holidays. Please do not lose faith in your gods. Try to be as happy as you can, and try not to support things like this, because just in the drug trade alone, give me 1 second. I'm going to show you one thing. illegal drug trade. The global drug trade generated an estimated US $321.6 billion in 2003, of US $36 trillion in the same year. $36 trillion. I mean, come on. Take into account you superstars out there. Do you guys make $36 trillion a year? I mean, seriously. Because I know you don't. I know you make nowhere near $36 trillion a year. And that's the whole thing that comes into it. $36 trillion a year. That's just based on, that's just the illicit drug trade. $321 billion in 2003, with a world GDP of US $36 trillion in the same year. $36 trillion. The legal drug trade is estimated to be slightly less than 1%, 0.893% of the total global commerce. Now, $321.6 billion. That's a lot of money. Money is power. You can control women, you can control men, you can control gangs, you can control, I mean, you can use propaganda and imagery to make things like that happen. I mean, to attack the people who are smart and to bring the ones who ain't up, or to, you know, I could go on forever and ever. I'm just making this appearance. I might make another appearance next month sometime, maybe. I just don't let it get you down. Eat healthy. Hydrate. Try to get sleep if you can. If you can't, take rest breaks. That's the best thing I could tell you. It's not that I'm under attack from this, but I see it places I go. I see these things happening, and well, I understand it and I know, but unless a person is willing to make his own choices and being ready and willing to make those changes, to let go of these things, to be able to, you have to want to make a change. People can't just make you make a change. You have to want to do it. You have to want to advance. You have to want to get free of these things, and a lot of people really don't want to, and you can't really change that. So some people have no choice. They have to because they are too stressed out, or because, oh, a different number of reasons. I think I'm gonna call it here, and I guess that's it. Don't let people fool you. Don't let yourself be exploited. Get sunshine, not too much. Keep your immune system strong. Stay off the drugs. In my opinion, drugs are a part of terrorism. The drugs are a part of terrorism because, according to the different traits of drugs and of the cultures that use them, they're the most weakening to that culture. We all have different psychologies, we all have different backgrounds. I'm not going to get into that whole thing right now, but each drug that's administered to each different culture or race or whatever it is that you call it, you know, that drug is the perfect drug to bring that person down with. You know, to bring that culture down with. That culture stresses and psychology is weakest to that type of drug. Do not let that bring you down. Do not do drugs. They're bad for you. stay away from them, man. It's bad, and it's weakens the immune system, causes stress, overheats the body, causes disease, causes the spread of disease, causes underage girls to have children and to various things, and just don't get involved in those things, and try to keep yourself as clean as possible. And I know that some of you people out there you're thinking I'm a total whack job, I'm like this crazy guy that's like like I'm some fruitcake, which sounds pretty good to me. But anyways, I just do not let this stuff affect you, because not only does it do that, but it also, as I see here in the background, it also pays for the enemy of us. Maybe not the enemy of the world, but the enemy of our culture, the enemy of our way of life. We can't say Christmas, we can't say different types of holidays, because every culture in America has these different types of holidays. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the American way of life. The land of the free and the home of the brave. You know what I mean? That's what it affects here. And don't let people drag you in with that whole American perfect image either, because that's even can't say it on this site, but I guess that's it. Take another look over this and see if there's anything that I can read to you. Continuing identities, future of conflict. Conflict. Oh, here's another one. Terrorism is an effective mode of conflict. They can point to the fact that the Al-Qaeda invested $500,000 in an attack that is estimated to eventually cost the U.S. government $135 billion in damages and recovery costs. Considering that these figures do not reflect the cost of military and law enforcement efforts to investigate and destroy the organization responsible, the comprehensive return of the investment is even greater. Since these emerging and sub-state entities are not party to any established rules regarding uses of force, terrorism, and the use of terror to oppress are viewed as logical and effective methods to accomplish their objectives. The development of rules of war and the framework of international law that attempt to protect the civilian from military action are irrelevant to these combatants. Thus, the expansion of where and to whom violence may be applied will accelerate, and the treatment of prisoners will rely more on the provision for ransom or retribution for mistreatment than the rulings of the Geneva Convention. This is important for the unit leader and planner because the mindset necessary to operate in a completely chaotic, unstructured environment will have to be developed. This mindset includes the sobering and for Americans unusual concept that their units may be likely to be only order or structure in the area of operations. I guess that's it. On the practical level, what changes to terrorist operations will concern U.S. forces. As already addressed, terrorism will continue to increase in lethality. The acquisition and eventual use of effective WMDs by terrorists is highly likely. Terrorism is merging and combining with various other state and sub-state actors, further blurring the difference between criminals, rogue governments, and terrorists. These are several practical considerations in the evolution of terrorism that have not yet been addressed. There are concerns regarding the impacts of interactions of mass media, technological advances, urbanization, and illegal fundraising with terrorism. There is an increasingly technological and informational nature to all conflict, and terrorism is no exception. Terrorists will continue to cultivate their ability to use new and innovative technologies and methods of applying existing technologies to new users. This is not to say that terrorists will go exclusively high-tech, but they will explore the increase in capabilities that technology provides, especially the synergy between simple operations and selective technologies to ensure success. There is no doubt that terrorists will continue to exploit information technology to enhance their operations and launch cyber attacks against our IT systems. That's that. I'm going to call it. Hope you liked the video. Hope it taught you something. Don't let the weather beat you. Don't let weakened immune systems beat you. Don't let stress of everyday life beat you. Don't be exploited. Don't turn your back on your family. Even if your family does turn your back on you or you turn your back on them, live your life good. Don't let it be taken. Don't let anger and greed or fear or other things overcome you. Be strong. I mean, you gotta figure, right? You take troops from America, they're in the battlefield right now giving their lives. We're in another kind of battlefield, and we as Americans are a hell of a lot less prone to stress than some other countries are. I will definitely guarantee you that. I'm not saying we're weak or we're not strong, but everyday American life, everybody's got their own houses, everybody's got their own cars, everybody's got their own little personal things, and when you violate those things, people their comforts. Comfort. That's another one. Comfort's a big one that could be affected. Mess with a person's comfort, violate his space and his pride, boom, there goes the whole show. Mentioning that, that's the end of the show. I'm going to let you guys go, and hope this video can help you. Oh, by the way, people who've been watching me, doing great. Hope you're doing the same. Happy holidays.